Get the unmissable news stories of the day.
This is the Beijing Hour.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Monday, March 30th, 2026. You're listening to the Beijing Hour, coming to you live from the Chinese capital. On today's program, Beijing's invited the chairperson of the Chinese Kuomintang Party to visit the Chinese mainland early next month. Iran's confirmed the death of a Navy commander who was overseeing operations in the Strait of Hormuz. World Trade Organization talks on extending a moratorium on e-commerce duties will continue as the U.S. and Brazil remain deadlocked on the issue. In business, the 6th China International Consumer Products Expo. In sports, another win for a teenage F1 driver, this time in Japan. And in culture and entertainment, Shanghai Fashion Week is highlighting global style in the Chinese city. Now the day's top stories. The Communist Party of China's Central Committee and General Secretary Xi Jinping have invited Chinese Kuomintang Party chairperson Cheng Li-wun to visit the Chinese mainland in April. Cheng will visit Jiangsu, Shanghai, and Beijing from April 7th till the 12th. She's expressed her appreciation and accepted the invitation. Cheng says she hopes both parties will work together to promote the peaceful development of cross-strait ties, enhance exchanges and cooperation, contribute to peace in the Taiwan Strait, and improve people's well-being. For more, Tianyu spoke with Professor Chu Cheng, a fellow of the Belt and Road Research Center at Minzu University of China.
Professor, what's your view on the timing of the upcoming visit by Chinese Kuomintang Party chairperson Cheng Li-wun to the Chinese mainland, and what is the significance of the visit?
I think I have many considerations. Number one, from the political timing, I think that, the chairperson Cheng Li-wun actually has been nominated as a chairperson ever since November of last year. So I think by that moment, she has already solidified her position in the party of the Kuomintang. So I think that will give her the condition to start a conversation and give her the credit and authority to start a conversation, across the strait. And also, I think the current backdrop is also very important because across the strait, I think the atmosphere is really nervous. I think the tension has been here, and also the Democratic Progress Party under their ruling. I think we've been cut down the bilateral communication. So I think Kuomintang actually, as an opposition party, actually can play the role of the bridge linking, already being cut off, the bilateral communication. And also, I think certainly in a bigger picture, I think the international geopolitical backdrop are really, really messy. Currently, we've been seeing civil war are going on, and the international supply chain has been endangered, especially for the small economy like Taiwan province. I think they probably are feeling more of the turbulence in the years, and that's the reason why they wanted to more stabilize, relations in the supply chain. I think that's the reason why it happens currently and very urgently.
Yeah, and according to the announcement, the visit aims to promote peaceful development of cross-strait relations. And in practical terms, what specific outcomes or deliverables might both sides be hoping to achieve from this visit?
Well, I think they're probably going to cover 4 aspects. And number one is about the businesses and people's livelihood. Everybody knows Taiwan province actually have a very, very close, economic and livelihood tie with the mainland. I think how we can work further on the current backdrop and how can we securitize, the Taiwan business society's benefit in the mainland. I think that's very important. And also probably that the Kuomintang actually represented the many agriculture communities in Taiwan and also the manufacturing sectors in Taiwan, the real businesses. So I think they're probably going to talk about how they can enlarge and expand the bilateral agricultural products trade and, the tariffs and the taxes and all the things. Secondly, I think is about communications. Well, everybody knows that we used to have very, very close bilateral personnel exchanges, but been interrupted by the DPP. But the Kuomintang always want to, reinforce or actually, try to recover the kind of bilateral communication, the students, culture people, and also the artists, the scientists. So I think this is also the timing for them to talk to each other with this very important topic. And politically, I think it's a very important timing for them to reiterate the need to consensus and also together sound out a very important message of the anti-Taiwan separationists, and to send out this peaceful and stabilizing signals to not only bilateral across the strait, but also to the whole world. And meanwhile, they're probably going to discuss how they can set up the emergency management system, high-level communication and dialogue channel, so that in some cases when some unexpected urgency has been happening, there are still going to be some channels for both sides to talk to each other. So I think if they can make this happen, I think this visit can be really, really important.
That was Professor Chu Cheng, a fellow of the Belt and Road Research Center at Minzu University of China, talking about the upcoming visit by Chinese Kuomintang Party chairperson Cheng Li-wun to the mainland. China has launched countermeasures against a Japanese lawmaker for actions undermining China's sovereignty. The foreign ministry says KG Furuya visited China's Taiwan region and colluded with separatist forces despite opposition from Beijing. The ministry says the lawmaker's move violates the One China principle and the spirit of the 4 China-Japan political documents, while interfering in China's internal affairs and undermining its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Beijing has frozen Furuya's properties and assets within Chinese territory and denied issuance of a visa or entry into Chinese territory. Organizations and individuals within China are also prohibited from engaging in transactions or cooperation with the lawmaker. Zhang Yibing has more on the Chinese Foreign Ministry's response.
There are 2 remarks regarding Taiwan by Chinese Foreign Ministry on Monday. The first is on a visit by Japanese lawmaker KG Furuya to the Taiwan region of China. And China has frozen Furuya's properties and assets within Chinese territory and denied insurance the visit or entry to him to Chinese territory. And KG Furuya colluded with the Taiwan separatist forces, blatantly interfering in China's internal affairs and undermining China's sovereignty and territorial integrity. The spokesperson Mao Ning said the Taiwan question is at the core of China's core interests and is an unbreakable red line.
After the Japanese leader made erroneous remarks concerning Taiwan, China has repeatedly stated its position. However, KG Furuya continues to act without restraint and persists, including with the Taiwan independence separatist forces, seriously interfering in China's internal affairs and severely infringing on China's sovereignty and core interests.
Well, the Mao Ning said China will also take all other necessary punitive measures based on situation. In response to the visit by 4 U.S. senators to Taiwan, Mao Ning stated China has always firmly opposed official exchanges between the U.S. and Taiwan. And China has already lodged stern representations with the U.S. She said China's position on the Taiwan question is consistent and clear and will take necessary measures to firmly safeguard its sovereignty and territorial integrity.
That was Zhang Yibing reporting. Over 1,000 Japanese protesters have held an anti-war rally in Tokyo. Demonstrators criticized the U.S.-Israeli strikes on Iran and the Japanese government's push for military expansion and constitutional revision.
Our daily lives are already tough enough. We don't need more military expansion. I hope the Japanese Prime Minister prioritizes using our tax money for our lives right now and for our children's future. The Japanese government's current actions are simply unacceptable. I also want to be an adult who is responsible for the next generation.
If the Takaichi administration moves forward with revising the constitution, this will become an extremely serious issue. That is why I believe we have to stop this from happening at all costs.
Protesters have also demanded that the government apologize following an intrusion at the Chinese embassy in Tokyo.
The action of that self-defense forces member is truly unforgivable. Prime Minister Takaichi and Defense Minister Koizumi only expressed that it was regrettable, but they have not apologized to China. I am against this. They must first issue an apology to China, and then they should resign. This includes an apology for their earlier remarks on a Taiwan contingency.
An active duty officer of the Japanese Self-Defense Forces was arrested last week after forcibly entering the embassy and threatening to kill diplomatic personnel. China's issued a strong protest urging Japan to provide an explanation. A top Japanese government spokesperson called the incident regrettable but did not offer an apology. An Air China passenger plane from Beijing has arrived in Pyongyang. It marked the formal resumption of the Chinese carrier's passenger flight operations between the capitals of China and North Korea. Earlier, a Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson said the move aims to facilitate friendly exchanges between the two peoples. International passenger train services between the two countries have already been in operation since mid-March. A Chinese airline has launched its first direct flight linking Beijing and Helsinki. China Southern Airlines will run round-trip services between the two cities 3 times a week. Yo Young has more.
It's the single direct flight linking the Chinese capital city of Beijing and the Finnish capital Helsinki. Its launch marks the opening of a new air corridor between China and the Nordic region.
Usually it took me 12 hours to get to Beijing, and now it's much shorter and it's super convenient.
I have plans to spend 2 weeks traveling in 4 Nordic countries. Not only in Finland, I will also go to Norway and Denmark.
The flight operated by China Southern Airlines will travel between the two sides 3 times per week, and the number will increase starting from June 2026.
Since the opening of the new flight, passengers from 50 cities in China can travel from Daxing International Airport to Finland and transfer to other European countries. We hope it can help to boost economic and trade cooperation, people-to-people exchanges and tourism development between China and Finland and other Nordic countries.
China has been Finland's largest trading partner in Asia for decades, while Finland remains China's 3rd largest trading partner in the Nordic region. And last year, bilateral trade reached $8.26 billion, an increase of $16 million compared with the previous year.
This is a great day for all of us. It will be connecting the capital of China to the Northern Europe. It will help both ways. You will see more North Europeans coming to Beijing area, and at the same time you will see people from north of China coming more to the north of Europe.
March 29th marks the beginning of the new summer-autumn flight schedule for Chinese airlines, with the major carriers adjusting or launching new domestic or international flight routes, while the new flight season will run through this October. In addition to China Southern Airlines, Air China will resume a direct route from Beijing to India's Delhi, while China Eastern Airlines plans to launch new services linking Shanghai with Tashkent, as well as Xi'an with Vienna, among others. According to the Civil Aviation Administration of China, more than 20,000 international flights will be operated each week during the new flight season, marking a 1.8% year-on-year increase. And experts say the expansion of the international flight network highlights China's continued commitment to high-level opening up.
That was Yo Young reporting. Coming up, Iran's confirmed the death of a top Navy commander.
Pulse Plus, a selection of the best podcasts in China, covering history, customs, music, literature, and in-depth dialogues. Find your way to a wealth of Chinese culture and thinking, all on Pulse Plus.
14 past now. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps confirmed the death of Navy Commander Alireza Tangsiri. The commander had overseen operations related to the Strait of Hormuz. He previously said that any vessel transiting the strait must fully coordinate with Iranian maritime authorities. Israeli media reported that Tangsiri was killed in a strike last week. The U.S. and Israel are continuing their bombardment of Iran, triggering widespread power outages in major cities. Israel says it's been targeting military infrastructure, saying Iran is launching new waves of missiles in retaliation. The U.S. is bolstering forces, with thousands of troops arriving in the region, as President Trump says he's in contact with Iran's new leaders. Pakistan's preparing to host potential talks between Washington and Tehran. Trump has suggested seizing Iran's Cargo Island to control oil exports. With Iran continuing to blockade the vital Strait of Hormuz, it's warned of heavy costs if the U.S. does invade Cargo Island. Asan Kevani reports.
Sunday, in the central city of Isfahan, the Industrial University was targeted by U.S. or Israeli airstrikes following similar strikes on this university on Friday. Elsewhere in Tehran, the University of Science and Technology was targeted a day earlier. According to unconfirmed reports, The target in Tehran was most probably the satellite research center in the university, because it is said that the center had close cooperation with Iran's military sector. In response, the IRGC says all the American and Israeli universities in the West Asian region could be Iran's legitimate target. The Ministry of Energy has just announced that following attacks on electricity industry facility in Tehran province and parts of Tehran city and Alborz province, electricity was cut off in these areas, and efforts are being made to resolve the problem. The Iranians are really worried now because they fear if President Trump gives the green light for bombing the power grid and power plants on a larger scale, a real crisis could happen, because in that case, many people, in particular in major cities, would lose their access to water as well. Regarding the ground invasion threats by U.S. President Donald Trump, Iranian IRGC says that it is totally ready, and it also welcomes the deployment of American troops to Iran or the coastal areas of Iran, because the IRGC said that in that case they will turn the American troops into a cemetery and set them all on fire.
That was Asan Kayvani reporting. The U.S. military has also deployed the amphibious assault ship USS Tripoli to the Middle East. Washington's amassed over 50,000 troops in the region, its largest regional force in 2 decades. The deployment comes as Iran launches retaliatory strikes across the Gulf following U.S.-Israeli airstrikes on its key economic industries. Philip Crowther with the Associated Press reports from Dubai.
Warning there, a very ominous one from a top Iranian official. That will maybe lead to further fears of more confrontation, maybe on the ground, between U.S. forces and Iranian forces, if it is to happen. But what we're seeing here are some elements coming together that might prepare the groundwork for some kind of a U.S. operation inside Iran with boots on the ground. It's around 2,500 Marines that are now here in the Middle East. That's according to CENTCOM, U.S. Central Command. They came here on board the USS Tripoli. That's an amphibious assault ship. They and the ship are usually based in Japan. They were actually ordered over here around 2 weeks ago. Now they have arrived in this area. Now add to that the at least 1,000 soldiers from the 82nd Airborne Division that have also been ordered over here. Those are paratroopers, another indication of what could potentially be in the offing here. Well, they're not letting up. It might be a little bit less frenetic, as in the first days of this war, when several missiles and drones managed to get past the air defense systems of several Gulf states. The number of missiles and drones seems to have gone down, but still, in the United Arab Emirates, where I am, there are still quite a lot of attacks from Iran. The missile defense systems, again, trying to shoot down missiles and drones, with the authorities here telling people that any sounds that you might hear, those are interceptions. In other words, missiles or drones being shot down. And in fact, we heard those sounds. Here are the numbers. 16 missiles and 42 drones were used to attack the UAE alone. That's still quite a lot. And add to that what happened in Saudi Arabia over the last week, with at least 24 U.S. service members being injured in attacks on one Saudi Arabian airbase that hosts U.S. soldiers. So it's still quite significant what is coming toward Gulf countries.
That was Philip Crowther reporting. Air defenses have lit up the skies over Tehran as strikes intensify across the Iranian capital. There have been explosions, with some neighborhoods facing power outages. Saper Saremi has more from Tehran.
Reporting from west of Tehran, it's March 29th, it's 11 p.m. Tehran's defense mechanism is activating constantly. In the past 2 hours, there have been attacks in different districts, and according to reports which have been confirmed, in some districts of Tehran, electricity has gone out, and officials have said that they are working intensively to restore electricity in those areas. The defense system is engaging intensively, and different areas of Tehran are being attacked. In the past 2 days, attacks have been intensifying across the country, especially Tehran. This morning, some residential places, and also yesterday, were struck by U.S.-Israeli forces. Some places are under attack.
That was Saper Saremi reporting. The Israel Defense Forces have announced new airstrikes on targets in Tehran, including weapons manufacturing and storage facilities. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu instructed the military to widen its security buffer zone in southern Lebanon. Jonathan Regev has more from Tel Aviv.
Southern Israel now seems to be the direction which the Iranian missiles are mostly looking for. Most of the sirens through Saturday night and Sunday focused on southern Israel, probably due to the fact that there are many military sensitive sites and Iranis perhaps trying to hit them in response to Israel hitting many military and strategic sites within Iran. On a Sunday afternoon, a fire began raging at a chemical plant in southern Israel due to shrapnel, which came from one of those Iranian missiles. Fire there was raging for quite some time until it was put out. There was also a warning in place for hazardous material. Eventually, that warning was taken off. But this is just one example in which a shrapnel, not a whole missile, but a shrapnel hitting a sensitive site is causing quite a lot of damage, and it took many hours for the firefighters to put the flames out. This is in regards to Iran, and when we look north towards Lebanon, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu visiting the northern command of the Israeli army on Sunday, speaking there and saying that his directive is now to expand the Israeli buffer zone within Lebanon with the aim of distancing Hezbollah militants away from the border. In certain areas, there are reports that Israeli soldiers have reached as far as the Litani River and the areas where it is closer to the Israeli border. The aim, once again, to make sure that the militants do not approach the actual border fence, are not able to threaten the border communities with a direct anti-tank fire, with a mortar fire, as we have seen in previous instances. That is something that the Israeli army has succeeded in doing. But at the same time, we still see tens, sometimes even hundreds of rockets and missiles fired towards those communities. Hezbollah is doing that from deeper within Lebanon. If Israel would want to tackle that, it would have to send its army way deeper inside its northern border.
That was Jonathan Regev reporting. Pakistan's held diplomatic talks on the Middle East conflict with Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Egypt. Islamabad plans to broker peace talks between the U.S. and Iran, despite Tehran's rejection of a U.S. proposed ceasefire. Daniel Khan reports.
Islamabad is making a diplomatic push to de-escalate this conflict. All four countries represented at these talks, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Turkey and Egypt, are on the same page when it comes to one thing, wanting to see a lowering of tensions. The concern is that this conflict between the US, Iran and Israel could spiral further, especially with key shipping routes and the wider region already feeling the impact. Behind closed doors, the bigger focus is likely on how to get talks started. Pakistan says it has already passed on a 15-point US proposal to Iran, which Tehran rejected. So this meeting could be about building support for a mediation channel, possibly through Islamabad or even Ankara. Calls for restraint and maybe a roadmap for future talks. In many ways, this is also about positioning Pakistan and its regional partners trying to step in diplomatically at a time when regional allies fear the conflict could become more volatile.
That was Daniel Khan reporting. Coming up, WTO talks on extending the moratorium on e-commerce duties remain deadlocked.
You've been listening to programs from CGTN Radio.
CGTN Radio.
We invite you to visit us online for more audio, pictures, and in-depth reports. At radio.cgtn.com, you can access a wide range of programs and find your favorite news, talk, features, entertainment shows, and podcasts. Hear the difference with CGTN Radio.
25 past the hour. World Trade Organization talks to extend a moratorium on e-commerce duties will continue in Geneva as the U.S. and Brazil remain deadlocked over the issue. Ministers from across the world have been discussing the extension and other challenges facing the multilateral trading system at a WTO conference in Cameroon. David Mbithi has more.
Since Wednesday's opening session of the World Trade Organization's 14th Ministerial Conference, deliberations have focused on the challenges currently affecting world commerce and the multilateral trading system. Experts say the world trading system is facing its worst disruption in 80 years, partly driven by unilateral U.S. tariffs. Delegates attending the gathering in Cameroon's capital, Yaoundé, say the turmoil has left the organization divided and raised questions about the future of global trade.
What we're seeing at the moment from the US and the EU and others is trying to reshape this organization to allow them greater power to pressure and really get what they want on the table and as outcomes.
Discussions also delved into e-commerce, following which 66 members, representing around 70% of world trade, adopted a roadmap for the implementation of the WTO agreement on electronic commerce through transactional provisions. This is expected to help developing countries grow their digital economies. Development issues were also discussed during a ministerial session on fisheries subsidies.
The fisheries subsidies negotiations that are happening in the WTO, we already have the agreement on fisheries subsidies, which deals with subsidies for illegal, unreported, unregulated fishing and subsidies for overfished stocks. But there's ongoing negotiations around subsidies that contribute to overfishing and overcapacity. And whilst we all can agree and understand that there's a problem with overfishing globally, what we see and what we would argue in the way that the WTO is trying to deal with this system, with this problem, is very much that will restrict the ability of other countries to develop their fishing fleets to fish in their own waters.
As the summit concludes, many say the future of the World Trade Organization remains a critical issue. Many experts argue that the organization is in crisis and the warning signs have been there for some time. A broad coalition of developed and developing nations say they want to work together to prevent the WTO from sinking. However, member states are not in agreement on the required reforms.
That was David Mbithi reporting. Global energy markets are under strain following the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which carries nearly 20% of global oil supply. Disruptions from the Middle East conflict have put the fragile Sudanese economy under strain. Rising energy prices have pushed up transportation costs, directly affecting the country's import supply chain. A local business representative, Amin Ali Hassan, has warned of a significant rise in consumer prices if the disruptions continue.
I expect prices in Sudan will not just rise slightly, but will increase significantly. The conflict in the Gulf region has already had a major impact on the retail sector. As shipping costs and oil prices continue to rise, prices of food and other goods are increasing sharply, and this trend is spreading across the country.
Shipping insurance expert Ahmad Al-Arash hoped that the conflict would end soon.
They will hit the production, will hit the supply chains, will hit the oil sector, industry sector. But if this war extends to the Red Sea, the situation will be very bad and worse. And I hope this war is stopped there and not extend to the Red Sea.
Many countries have rolled out emergency measures in response to surging oil prices. We're at 29 past the hour. Beijing's getting a light rainfall overnight. It's down to 7. Cloudy and 20 degrees for Tuesday. Shanghai will see some rain overnight. It's down to 12. Then heavier rain in 17. Chongqing will see moderate rainfall in 15 overnight. It's cloudy and 21 tomorrow. Nanchang will see a light rainfall in 15 overnight and then heavier rain in 15. Lhasa will see cloudy skies and it's down to +3, overcast and 17 tomorrow. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see heavy rainfall and 15 degrees overnight, overcast and 25 on Tuesday. Vientiane will be cloudy overnight and through tomorrow with a low of 25 and a high of 38. Phnom Penh's getting overcast conditions overnight and through tomorrow, a low of 25 and a high of 37. It's time for a short break. So far this hour, Beijing's invited the chairperson of the Chinese Kuomintang party to visit the Chinese mainland early next month. Iran's confirmed the death of a Navy commander who was overseeing operations in the Strait of Hormuz. World Trade Organization talks on extending a moratorium on e-commerce duties will continue as the U.S. and Brazil remain deadlocked on the issue. Shane Bigham with you. Stay with us here on the Beijing Hour.
Listen up. Can you hear the heartbeat of our world? It's vibrant and pulsating with the essence of life itself. From the stem of trees to the gurgle of rivers. From the silent strength of mountains to the icy whispers of glaciers. Even the solid ground beneath our feet. Right there, in the midst of all, beats the heart of humanity. What if those other heartbeats were to stop? Would ours keep on ticking?
Ever wondered what's actually going on in Africa through the perspective of an African? How are things really going between China and Africa? What's the narrative of this relationship? Well, get a perspective with China-Africa Talk. Hear from African diplomats, entrepreneurs, academics, Chinese natives, and more. Get on our wavelength every week to find out what's real with China-Africa Talk. Find us on your favorite podcast. We'll see you there.
Examining the events that impact and shape China and the rest of the world. This is the Beijing Hour, 1 hour of news and information brought to you every weekday. Now here's your host.
Shane Bigham with you on this Monday. Still to come. In business, the 6th China International Consumer Products Expo. In sports, another win for a teenage F1 driver, this time in Japan. In culture and entertainment, Shanghai Fashion Week's highlighting global style in the Chinese city. To contact us, you can email radio@cgtn.com or follow our X account @CGTN Radio. Well, now with the check of the day's headlines, here's Tianyu.
Thank you, Shane. The Communist Party of China Central Committee and General Secretary Xi Jinping have invited Cheng Li-wun, chairperson of the Chinese Kuomintang Party, to visit the Chinese mainland next month. A CPC official said Cheng has expressed the desire to visit the mainland multiple times since she took office in November. Song Tao, head of the Taiwan Work Office of the CPC Central Committee, said Cheng and her delegation will visit Jiangsu, Shanghai, and Beijing from April the 7th to the 12th. Cheng has accepted the invitation, expressing the hope that both parties will work together to promote the peaceful development of cross-strait relations. She also called for enhancing exchanges and cooperation, contributing to peace in the Taiwan Strait and improving people's well-being. Chinese President Xi Jinping says China will work with other countries on data governance so that the benefits of data better serve people worldwide. In a congratulatory letter to the founding of the World Data Organization, he called for stronger innovation in digital technologies and closer international cooperation to ensure the safe, orderly, and efficient flow and use of data. The World Data Organization has held its first general meeting in Beijing, marking its official establishment. It is the world's first international organization dedicated to promoting data development and governance. China has launched countermeasures against the Japanese lawmaker for what describes as actions undermining China's sovereignty. The Foreign Ministry says KG Furuya visited China's Taiwan region and colluded with separatist forces in the island, despite opposition from Beijing. The ministry says the lawmaker's move violates the One China principle and the spirit of the 4 China-Japan political documents, while interfering in China's internal affairs and undermining its sovereignty and territorial integrity. Beijing has frozen Furuya's properties and assets within Chinese territory and denied issuance of a visa or entry to Chinese territory. Organizations and individuals within China are also prohibited from engaging in transactions or cooperation with the lawmaker. The 4 astronauts set to become the first lunar visitors in over half a century have arrived at Florida's Kennedy Space Center. The Artemis II crew says they are thrilled and ready to go, though Commander Reed Wiseman stresses this is a test flight with no expectations of launching on schedule.
This is a test flight. This is the first time we're going to try this. This is the first time we're loading humans on board. And I will tell you, the four of us, we are ready to go. The team is ready to go, and the vehicle is ready to go. But not for 1 second do we have an expectation that we are going. We will go when this vehicle tells us it's ready and when the team is ready to go. So we might go out to the pad, and we might have to try again a few more times, and we are 100% ready for that.
NASA is aiming for Wednesday with humanity's first astronaut moonshot since Apollo 17 in 1972. The rocket had sat at the launch pad for over a week after NASA fixed problems that scuttled launch attempts in February and early March. The 10-day mission will take the astronauts to the moon without landing and then back to Earth. It's a major test of the spacecraft ahead of landing astronauts on the moon in a couple of years. Crowds have braved heavy rain in central Istanbul to protest ongoing conflicts in the Middle East. The rally was organized by religious conservatives NGOs. It featured chants supporting Gaza and criticism of Israel and the U.S. Mehmet Elmaz is one of the protesters who also voiced solidarity with some other places worldwide.
We are here for all the oppressed in the world. Lebanon, Iran, Palestine. Yesterday it was Venezuela. Tomorrow it will probably be Cuba. We are here resisting for all of them. All that we can do is take to the streets and raise our voices.
The protesters also criticized the Israeli closure of Al-Aqsa Mosque. And finally, severe flooding has hit Russia's North Caucasus after following heavy rains. Thousands have evacuated from Dagestan and Chechnya, which have declared states of emergency. Floodwaters destroyed several bridges and left over 130 settlements without power. Around 3,000 people have evacuated areas in Dagestan alone. In Chechnya, about 750 homes have flooded, with 500 people displaced.
All right, thank you very much. That's Tianyu with headlines. Coming up in business, the 6th China International Consumer Products Expo.
The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
37 past now. Stock markets on the Chinese mainland closed mixed on Monday. The Shanghai Composite was up over 0.2%. The Shenzhen Component decreased nearly 0.3%. Forestry and precious metal shares were among the top gainers. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng Index lost more than 0.8%. Japan's Nikkei dropped nearly 2.8%. The 6th China International Consumer Products Expo will take place from April 13th to 18th in Hainan Province. And this year's event focuses on emerging trends. Officials from the Commerce Ministry say a wide range of cutting-edge products will be on display, further enriching the supply of high-quality consumer goods. Over 3,400 brands from over 60 countries and regions will join, with 65% being international exhibits. That's up 20 points from last year. As the country of honor, Canada will have a 400-square-meter national pavilion with nearly 40 companies attending. 12 countries and regions will send official delegations. Russia, Bulgaria, and others will launch national pavilions for the first time. Authorities say they'll make efforts to highlight the opportunities of the Hainan Free Trade Port at the upcoming China International Consumer Products Expo. The Expo marks the first edition of the event since Hainan fully launched island-wide special customs operations in December of last year. The Executive Vice Governor of the province says they're seizing the opportunity to fully showcase Hainan's new image, achievements, and opportunities. Meanwhile, Vice Commerce Minister Shang Qiuping says the Consumer Products Expo provides a strong boost to the Hainan Free Trade Port. More than 70 leading enterprises have so far established operations in Hainan after participating at the Expo. Beauty is big business. When it comes to hair, a city in central China holds a huge share of the world's hair products. Sergei Gordeev finds out how Xuchang has made a name for itself.
Xuchang, a small city in central China, is known for something big: hair. 60% of the world's hair products are made right here. Just as a picture frame can totally change the look of a picture, so can different hairstyles completely change the way we look and feel. And if you're looking for hair products, look no further than Xuchang.
People might not realize how big this industry is. Last year alone, the total volume of import and export was more than $3 billion.
Wow.
Our biggest buyers are from United States because the market is huge, and African countries because in Africa The hair products are a big part of their culture.
So, why does the world come to Suchang for hair products? Number one, the scale. More hair products are made here than anywhere in the world.
All the products will be packed, then shipped to all the customers in the world. We sold more than 20 million pieces last year to countries outside of China in the world.
Number two, cost effectiveness. Source material, components, equipment, it's all right here in Suchang.
And I came to China, to Suchang, to find good suppliers with good prices. It's basically here that all the factories are, and it's here that I can get the best deals.
Seems like here in China, the workers work hard. Everything is a 1,000,000% effort. It's insane.
Suchang, the prices are good, the quality is very good.
I don't have to go to India, I don't have to go to Vietnam, I don't have to go, to Myanmar, wherever. I come here and I get what I need.
And product diversity. Here, you can get any wig you can imagine.
This is our chief designer, Sunny.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, this is where we create our design. And every year we design more than 1,000 of hairstyles.
That's a lot. So, how does a wig become a wig? It starts as hair on somebody else's head, and then is brought to a place like this, the Xiaogong village. The ladies here have worked in hair business for generations.
I make about 4,000, 5,000 yuan a month, which is pretty good for here.
I've worked here for 40 years, and many people in the village also work in the hair industry like me.
This work allows the ladies to stay local, so they can take care of their families.
As a hair product capital, Suchang is home to over 4,000 hair enterprises employing more than 300,000 people.
We just built this special live stream studio for that.
I want to know what sells best and where.
I'll be like this, be like...
No. This is best seller on Amazon. This is most popular in the United States, and this is for Africa.
So, a billion-dollar industry with one goal, to make people feel beautiful.
That was Sergei Gordeev reporting. Organizers released 21 major scientific and technological breakthroughs at the just concluded Zhongguancun Forum. Among the achievements is China's flagship synchrotron radiation facility, the high-energy photon source, which is now in trial operations. It marks the country's entry into the high-energy 4.0 era of synchrotron radiation and a shift from a follower to a leader in the field. It's China's first facility of its kind, and it's at the Beijing Huairou Science Center. Known as a super microscope, it can generate X-rays 1 trillion times brighter than the sun, helping scientists observe the microstructure of matter and its evolution processes. Meanwhile, a system known as the Tongzhi brain was also introduced. The system can equip robots with a general-purpose decision-making center and advance the large-scale application of embodied artificial intelligence. China's unveiled an action plan to accelerate the deep integration of cutting-edge technologies such as artificial intelligence with the shipping industry, aiming to foster new quality productive forces in the sector. The plan outlines the overall requirements, key tasks, and support measures for developing smart shipping in the country during the 15th five-year plan period. The plan sets out a two-phase development roadmap. By 2027, China aims to achieve deep integration of AI with core shipping elements, establish more than 3 smart shipping pilot zones, and develop more than 10 smart shipping scenarios. By 2030, the country expects to achieve full mastery of core technologies and reach internationally advanced levels in smart shipping development. To meet these targets, the action plan deploys 11 crucial tasks across 4 dimensions, including breakthroughs in technology and equipment, empowering application pilots, and upgrading infrastructure. China is playing a leading role in shaping the future of Serbia's global showcase, Expo 2027. The project's become a symbol of economic ambition and deepening bilateral ties. The specialized exhibition is scheduled to run from May to August of next year. It expects to bring together more than 130 countries and attract millions of visitors. Alireza Tangsiri has more from Belgrade.
On the outskirts of the Serbian capital, this vast construction site will give rise to what will become the centerpiece of Expo 2027. Power China is the main contractor tasked with delivering the project under tight deadlines.
The construction period for the entire main structure of the convention center is less than 30 months, while projects of similar scale in Serbia usually take 4 to 5 years to complete.
The speed of construction reflects both the scale of investment and the urgency to meet fixed deadlines, with Serbia aiming to showcase its growing infrastructure capacity. The Expo complex is part of a broader development plan estimated at several billion euros, including new roads, utilities, and urban expansion around Belgrade. This is one of the largest and most expensive infrastructure projects that Serbia has ever seen. It is hoped that this investment will propel the already expanding Serbian economy to new heights. Authorities say the expected benefits range from increased tourism and foreign investment to long-term job creation and modernization of infrastructure. Expo 2027 is also closely linked with the modernization of Serbia's railway network and the high-speed Belgrade to Budapest line.
We believe that this project is not only an important infrastructure project, but also a good example of China-Serbia cooperation and people-to-people exchanges.
The director of Expo 2027 highlights the importance of partnership with Power China in delivering such a complex project on time and at scale.
There are really a lot of people who work in front of Power China who are really very experienced, very smart, very resourceful people. They help us a lot. Of course, there are no big projects without problems. In this part of Europe, this is by far the biggest construction site. Of course, there are problems, but we solve them. We have partners to help us solve them.
With construction racing against the clock, Serbia is betting that Expo 2027 will not only deliver a successful global event, but also leave a lasting economic and infrastructural legacy.
That was Alireza Tangsiri in Belgrade. Australia will have its tax on fuel sales in response to record high prices. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says the fuel tax will be cut for 3 months starting from Wednesday. The national average price for regular unleaded fuel hit a record high of $2.50 Australian per litre, or roughly $1.70 US. Albanese says the initiative would reduce the cost of gas and diesel by over 26 cents per litre. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in sports, another win for a teenage F1 driver, this time in Japan.
Sideline Story brings you all things sports related. The hottest topics, latest events, juiciest stories, all with a very personal take. Subscribe to Sideline Story Podcast for heated sports discussions covering events that are happening in China and around the world.
47 past the hour. And with sports now, here's Yanghua.
Thank you, Shane. We begin with Formula One. Mercedes' Kimi Antonelli has stormed to his second straight Formula One victory at the Japanese Grand Prix in Suzuka. The 19-year-old Italian dropped to 6th early on, but fought his way back before a safety car triggered by Haas driver Oli Bearman's crash changed the race. A well-timed pit stop put Antonelli in front, and he never looked back, winning in less than 1.5 hours. Antonelli says he will enjoy the moment, but knows there's more to come.
It can happen. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it goes badly, but this time it went well for me, and I'm very grateful for that. And now I'm gonna enjoy the win, but at the same time, gonna work hard on the areas where we need to improve. Of course, we have 3 weeks now to recharge. Gonna need to come back stronger, and I need to raise my game.
The result makes him the youngest driver ever to lead the championship standings, now 9 points clear of teammate George Russell. Oscar Piastri finished second, with Charles Leclerc third. In tennis, Jannik Sinner has made history by beating Jerry Lehechka in straight sets to win the Miami Open and completed the coveted Sunshine Double without dropping a set. Also, winning Indian Wells, Sinner becomes the first man since Roger Federer in 2017 to sweep both tournaments. Rain interrupted the final twice, but the Italian stayed composed, dominating on serve and sealing the title with a decisive late break in the second set. The victory further cements Sinner's status as one of the game's top players heading into the clay season. Turning to football, France displayed firepower and squad depth with a 3-1 friendly win over Colombia, capping a perfect set of World Cup warm-up matches. In the final outing before coach Didier Deschamps names his squad, Le Bleu fielded a completely changed lineup from the side that defeat Brazil 2-1, but still looked in control. Desiré Doué struck twice while Marcus Thuram added another, as France proved too strong after Colombia's bright start. Jamaican Capers scored Colombia's only goal. Deschamps says the 2 wins leave him encouraged ahead of the tournament.
I feel very positive, considering that we played 2 matches against 2 great teams. There was not much difference in the games, but there was really a lot of aggressiveness, and we used 11 totally different players who also showed a lot of quality. So to come here and win these 2 matches, these are 2 rehearsals. We are not going to view ourselves more handsomely than we are, but the players who were here made sure to take advantage of the playing time they had.
France now heads toward the World Cup with growing confidence as Deschamps prepares for his final tournament in charge. South Korea's Suwon FC women stunned defending champion Wuhan Jiangda with a dominant 4-0 victory to reach the AFC Women's Champions League semi-finals for the first time. Ji So-yoon opened scoring the 11th minute before Haruhi Suzuki doubled lead before halftime. Former Wuhan player Kim Hwai-yi made it 3-0 early in the second half, and Qin Min-ji added a late 4th in stoppage time. Suwon now advances to face North Korean side Nagoyan Women's Football Club for a place in the final. In the Premier League, Tottenham Hotspur has parted ways with interim coach Igor Tudor after just 5 weeks in charge. They say the decision was made by mutual agreement. The Croatian won only 1 of his 7 matches, with the North London side now sitting 17th in the league, just 1 point above the relegation zone. His short spell in charge was also marked by personal tragedy following the death of his father earlier this month. Tottenham is now without a league win since late December and facing a relegation battle, with the club saying an update on the new coach will follow soon. And finally, at the Artistic Swimming World Cup stop in Paris, China's Guo Muye capped a superb weekend by winning the men's solo free title, adding to the technical gold he claimed earlier in the meet. Inspired by the hit video game Black Myth Wukong, Guo delivered a high-difficulty routine marked by sharp execution and improved precision, earning strong praise from the judges. Fellow Chinese swimmer Lei Zichen finished 6th, while China's team acrobatic routine, the Sirens, placed 4th behind champions Ukraine.
All right, thank you very much. That's Yang Guang with sports. You're listening to the Beijing Hour. Coming up in culture and entertainment, Shanghai Fashion Week is highlighting global style in the Chinese city.
From north to south, east to west, people in China are chasing their dreams and leaving their mark. Want to know how they beat the odds and made a difference? Footprints brings you the true life stories of their journeys.
52 minutes past the hour. In culture and entertainment, Shanghai Fashion Week is underway, drawing designers, buyers, and fashion lovers from around the world. It's also a global showcase of the opportunities presented by the Chinese market and the economic momentum it continues to generate. B-Ran has more.
Shanghai Fashion Week is fast becoming a primary gateway for international brands entering China, as well as a launchpad for Chinese designers stepping onto the global stage. This season, designers, buyers, and brands have converged here not only to present their collections, but also to engage directly with the market. Unlike Paris' focus on exclusive talent discovery or Milan's emphasis on high-end luxury, Shanghai distinguishes itself with a fully integrated fashion ecosystem. As a senior buyer from Italy explained it to me, Shanghai Fashion Week still has a strong, distinctly Chinese touch, while still gaining international attention.
So how does the market really feel? To get the first-hand feedback from global designers, I came to a trade show of a South Korean fashion brand to talk to its founding designer, who is attending Shanghai Fashion Week for the first time.
It's my first time at Shanghai Fashion Week, and I'm surprised by how well organized it is. What also impressed me is the diversity of brands here. It's not conservative. but full of different styles and strong brand identities. These are our signature pieces, ruffle-inspired blouses and skirts, and they will be featured as key looks on the runway this season.
After saying goodbye to the Korean designer, I went to meet a French buyer named Malin to discover how the European market, one of the world's fashion hubs, views Shanghai Fashion Week.
I think it's very interesting, definitely different from what I expected. I saw a few brands that stood to me, especially at the beginning, and that could fit also the European clients. I like the collection a lot. I was wondering what is the positioning and understand the brand a bit better.
你这个品牌是怎么定位的?
Where do they sit next to? So very interesting to follow, and I guess I'll have to come back to see more.
While many designers aim to break into the Chinese market, a growing number of buyers return each season to discover emerging Chinese talent and bring their collections to international markets. For local brands, the runway is more than exposure. It's an opportunity to translate visibility into tangible business results. Right after the show, buyers place orders, designer meets brands, and brands meet platforms. And the fashion goes straight to the market. That's why a lot of international buyers, designers, and brands are coming to Shanghai.
That was Biran reporting from Shanghai. China's first maritime film festival has set sail aboard the domestically built cruise ship Adora Magic City, offering travelers a unique 5-day cinematic journey. The festival features classic movie screenings, exhibitions of film memorabilia, panel discussions with actors, and interactive performances. Jointly presented by Adora Cruises and Changchun Film Group, the themed cruise season will continue through June across 3 ships. Adora Magic City spans over 300 meters and can host over 5,000 guests, combining the allure of cinema with a luxury ocean cruise. Xinjiang's Turpa and Apricot Blossom Festival is in full swing, turning the desert oasis into a sea of white and pink as thousands flock to see the region's famed orchards at their peak. In Tucson County, nearly 6,000 hectares of apricot trees have created a breathtaking floral scene, complemented by cultural performances, folk parades, and artisan workshops. The festival features 26 activities, from folk parades to acrobatics and workshops celebrating local heritage. Xinjiang Railway has added extra trains to keep up with the spring crowds, and the apricot blossom season runs through April 10th. And Celine Dion's returning to Paris this autumn for concerts at La Défense Arena. Posters around the city hint at the show featuring hits like The Power of Love. The performances come 2 years after Dion's iconic performance at the 2024 Olympics opening ceremony. We're at 57 past the hour. Beijing will be getting a light rainfall overnight. It's down to 7, cloudy and 20 on Tuesday. Shanghai will see a light rainfall and 12 degrees overnight. The rain's heavier tomorrow with a high of 17. Chongqing will see moderate rainfall in 15, then cloudy in 21. Nanchung's getting some rain in 15, followed by heavier rain, and the temperature holds at 15. Lhasa will see clouds in 3 overnight, then overcast in 17. Elsewhere in Asia, Islamabad will see heavy rainfall in 15 this evening, overcast in 25 on Tuesday. It's time for a short, or rather, that's it for this edition of the Beijing Hour. Making news today, Beijing's invited the chairperson of the Chinese Kuomintang Party to visit the Chinese mainland early next month, and Iran's confirmed the death of a Navy commander who was overseeing operations in the Strait of Hormuz. On behalf of the staff, this is Shane Bigham in the Chinese capital, hoping you'll join us for the next edition of the Beijing Hour and open a window to the world together.
Find the Beijing Hour at precisely 6 p.m. Beijing time. We meet you on podcast and on air every weekday. The Beijing Hour, your window on China and the rest of the world.
He can't live without the Yellow River in his eyes.
The Yellow River is so noble and elegant.
Both my grandpa and dad made a living from the river.
Would you like to move away from the Yellow River?
I don't think I will. I love it so much.
The Yellow River, the second longest river in China, is regarded as a shaping force in the history, economy, and culture of northern China. Today, about 100 million people live within its water basin, making up nearly 9% of the country's population. How is climate change felt at its headwaters, and what are the locals doing to cope with it? What are the descendants of the boatmen doing? What has kept some people from leaving their home village by the river, and what has drawn others back? Could the fading fishing community revive in a time of digital transformation? From 2021 to 2024, our reporters visited the upper, middle and lower reaches of the Yellow River, talked to the herders, farmers, boatmen, fishermen and eco-activists who share a close bond with the river, and present their stories in pictures, podcasts and videos, all in our 12-part series, The Yellow River Mosaic, available only on CGTN Radio